Welcome to a CrossYoga Flow class with me. My name is Ria, and I'm going to guide you safely through a class with a lot of amazing balance postures. Today's topic is prayer. And just take a seat, and then I'll guide you into the theme about prayer, and maybe open up what prayer means, both in my life, but also maybe in your life as we go along in this class. Close your eyes and breathe and calm your body to begin with. So the topic is on prayer. I'm going to be sharing a few thoughts and one scripture before we start to move. But if you want to move already, you're welcome to do so. I was thinking, what is prayer? What would you say it is? What is praying? Why pray? Prayer is something that crosses all religious beliefs. Praying to that which is greater than ourselves. In a Christian context, it would be God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit. Sometimes I say that prayer can be almost like wishes, but I think that's only partly true, because a wish is something you kind of like say out to the universe, whereas a prayer is, I think, more spoken to one person, a God, and not just fate or the universe in general. And prayer is also praying for other people. Is there a wrong prayer? A wrong prayer. And that's why I want to read. It's from the Message version. So just stay still with your eyes closed. Matthew chapter 6. So Jesus is saying, here's what I want you to do. Find a quiet, secluded place so you won't be tempted to role play before God. Just be there as simple and honest as you can manage. The focus will shift from you to God, and you'll begin to sense His grace. The world is full of so-called prayer warriors who are prayer ignorant. They're full of formulas and programs and advice, padding techniques for getting what you want from God. Don't fall for that nonsense. It's your Father you're dealing with, and He knows better than you what you need. With a God like this loving you, you can pray very simple. And then the Lord's Prayer follow. So I don't believe there's any wrong prayer unless you want to show off. Nothing too big, nothing too small. If you're seated, you can do some circles with the sitting bones on the mat. Maybe you want to lean and hold onto your thighs as you move. So sometimes people say to me, "Oh, you're good at praying." And I appreciate that they're sharing that. But I don't think there's a good prayer and a bad prayer. It's just conversation. But it all centers around who you believe you're talking to. Let's do circles the opposite direction. Small or big. So I believe my prayer is spoken to a God who is like a parent. Someone who deeply cares for me and loves me, wants what's best for me. And when that is the case, there is no bad or wrong prayer. It's conversation. It's sharing my heart, my concerns, my worries, my joys, everything. Sitting still, moving your wrists. So in my family, we do evening devotional or meditations, whatever you want to call it. So I always invite my kids to pray as well. And a kid's prayer is just amazing. I mean, they pray for anything and everything. Big and small things. And sometimes my face is just in one big smile when my kids are praying, especially when they were younger. Because I just love that they were praying for something, that was just, for a great soda water the next day, or, something like, and it's all good. It's all good. So the prayer of a child is just as valid as a prayer from our mouth or our hearts. Getting into downward facing dog. And that is the one with the hip up and back. Spreading your fingers out. Maybe you bounce a little bit here. Moving into plank, getting down on your knees, lift your shoulders up, hip down, up dog. Staying with your knees down, stretching the back, the shoulders. A variation of child's pose without coming too deep down. And then lift up again into downward facing dog. 2 more times. Maybe flowing a little bit more. Knees down, shoulders back, look up. Don't go too low here with your spine. We're still warming up. Variation of child's pose. Your hands stay very much in front. So get that stretch and then engage the muscle tissues to create the heat in the body. 1 more time. You're welcome to incorporate the Ujjayi breath as we move on the mat. That's that snoring, exhaling sound. Inhale and exhale through your nose. Walk your feet to the top of the mat, fold forward. And maybe grab the elbows and sway from side to side. So I like to think my yoga practice here on the mat as one big prayer, actually. Body prayer. Like body language. So when I'm tired or frustrated, that might show up in postures on the mats that are maybe more tired or whatever, right? So maybe you express your prayer through postures when we do move here on the mat today. Let's do some sun salutations. Reach your arms up overhead and folding forward, bending your knees all the way down. Step back, doing it slow the first time, finding plank, maybe on your knees, especially the first time, elbows in, slowly lower down. You don't have to come all the way down. Lift through the shoulder blades, up dog, or your cobra where the hip stays down. Downward facing dog. Come to the front of the mat, folding forward, hip width distance in between the feet. navel in as you rise up again. Let's do with a breath. Exhaling, Ujjayi breath, maybe forward fold. Half lift, inhale. Plank to low plank, you can jump if you're into that. Lower down, exhale. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Take one breath here. Make sure you might bend your knees and you have a long, straight spine. Jump or walk to the top of the mat. Inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Inhale, high mountain. Exhaling, folding forward again. Halfway lift, inhale. Plank to low plank, exhale. Inhale, lifting up your chest. Exhaling, down dog. All right, let's do a sequence. We're going to do a sequence twice, but second time around, I'll add up the game a little bit. So you might do some variations, beginning with the right leg up and back, three-legged dog. Notice how your shoulders are standing right now. You're pushing through both hands probably equally. And we're going to stay with that as you've bent the right leg. Move it out to the side, up towards the right side, opening up your hip. Stay even. Distribute your weight on both hands here in our hip opener. So it's a slow flow. Then you bend your knee, bring that knee underneath your belly and onto the top of the mat with that right foot. Gonna do high lunge, so I gaze forward, slowly rise up. Bring the arms towards the sky, stacking knee and ankle. Breathe. Prayer pose with the hands. Instead of just grabbing the elbow on the thigh, I'll encourage you to lean forward, kicking the back heel a little bit higher off the mat, and then stay here because you need your core a little bit more. Push the palms together, twisting towards your right side. The right leg is at the front. Come on back, leaning slightly forward, kicking the back foot to the front. You're going to wrap it around into our eagle pose. So left leg wraps around, bending both legs to kind of wrap around once, or if possible, twice with the toes there. If you're unbalanced, you can do the eagle arms. Left elbow at the bottom, right at the top. Around with your hands, elbows off the chest. Hands away from the head, shoulders down. Trying to stay with your hands like this, if possible. Release left leg and go for a warrior three with the eagle arms, I call it. So extend the back leg out, toes pointing down. Maybe release your fingers down, opening up the hip with your fingers down for half moon. Your left foot is, toes are pointing out. Left arm reaches up. And you want to go for that hovering variation off the floor. Welcome to do so. Slowly lower down the left foot at the back end of the mat. Warrior two. So the toes are still pointing in that left direction. Core in. You're going to lean forward with those airplane arms. So the front hand is going to go on the outside of the knee. And of course, the further you come forward, the harder it will be. So you're welcome to stay higher. Engage the abs. Same thing on the other side. Stay with the front leg bended. Most people try to extend the front leg as they lean back. then unwind yourself, going for our vinyasa plank to low plank. Moving into cobra or up dog. Downward facing dog. And maybe sigh out. Now, yoga can also be used as a practice before praying, because we're all so busy. I am at least busy in my mind. My thoughts are going everywhere. But the practice of moving and breathing calms my mind, so I'm more ready to pray and listen after a class. That's another way. Left leg up and back. Bend the knee. Open up the hip. And again, stay evenly with your hands. Oh, so often we kind of lean into one shoulder here. Closing the hip. Left leg to the front of the mat. Lift the back heel off. Catch your breath. Rise up into high lunge. Going as low as you think you might like to do. Hands in prayer pose. Kind of circle the shoulders back so they don't drop forward. Leaning forward, twisting this time. Again, hovering with the elbow towards the left side. Maybe that sensation of squeezing the inner thighs slightly. Release. Gonna find our eagle. So I'm leaning forward, seeing if I can get the right leg in one big move here. Wrapping it around, bending the knees in order to wrap anything. Ooh. Right elbow at the bottom this time. Eagle arms, whatever variation you can do. And here you would definitely squeeze your thighs. If possible, stay with your arms in that eagle pose. Release the right foot. Warrior 3 with eagle arms. Elongate through the spine. Closing the hip by lifting the back leg really high. Release the hands, both fingers down, as we kind of distribute our weight differently on the hip. We want to stay in balance. So opening up the hips, stacking the hips for a half moon. Right leg is up, right hand might keep following up as well. Stay here or hover. Release the foot, coming back into warrior 2. Breathe, release. Just as we do on the yoga mat, there's nothing we need to prove. We might prove to ourselves that we're strong, that we're good. Maybe we feel that as well with prayers, but there's really nothing we need to prove. Leaning forward, again, the front hand goes on the outside of the thigh. The arms are still kind of in one big line. Staying put with the legs, just leaning back. Yay, first sequence. Unwind, step back. Either just down dog or go for that flow plank, low plank. Up dog and then down dog. Or maybe take a pause in child's pose. Actually, I invite you to do that because we're going to do a bit of body prayer. sometimes my mind is so full of all things that I can't really express my prayer in words, but my body sometimes can. So, in child's pose, with your hands at the front, let your hands express what is on your heart right now. Maybe you throw fists, maybe you open your hands, maybe you kind of whatever. Just play playfully. One hand do something and the other hand do something else. Express a prayer with your hands. Maybe sigh out. And let the hands find the floor again. And don't overthink this. Lifting up again, finding down dog. Or sequence one last time. Either do exactly what we did or adding on a little bit more. Right leg lifted up. Bend the knees, draw the knee out, stay put, or go for the wild thing where the right leg drops down, you lift the navel towards the sky and then lift up through the hip. See if you can make your way down without doing too much harm on your knee. And then your right foot at the top of the mat, high lunge. This time prayer pose, and again we did just hovering before. If you want a little bit more, do your prayer pose hands with the fingers pointing away so the line of gravity moves away from your body, and then twist with the arms extended out towards your right side. Slight tension behind the shoulder blades. We don't want to push our shoulders forward. Release, eagle pose, leaning forward. See if you can make a big move here. Left leg wraps around once or twice or 3 times. Eagle arms, left elbow again at the bottom. And if you want to go for a bit more here, you can go for that sleeping eagle or sleeping angel, I've heard it was called. So kind of folding down. Unwind, maybe stay with the arms still in that eagle pose. Take the left leg back for that warrior 3 variation. If you want more, you can bend the left leg, the toes point up, kind of a broken warrior 3. Release the arms, keep the leg bended. If you want to, open up the hip. Half moon, but with a binding. Maybe. We were extending the leg out before. You're welcome to do that as well. If you want the binding, hold of my foot there. Keep the balance. Lift the leg out. So I'm kind of kicking my foot into my hand. Release. Always welcome to pause the video if you want to. Whew. This became like a little bit more like a power class, but that's my intermediate, right? Arms to the front and back. Instead of just going forward like that, as we did before, you might want to reach the arms up overhead. Make sure your shoulders does not move forward. Core in and lean towards the front leg, all your body aligned with the heels. Lifting up, going back. plank, low plank, vinyasa. And sigh out. This is a warming sequence. Left leg up, bending the leg, knee, open up hip. And again, stay put or do that wild thing variation. Ooh, squeeze that shoulder back. A bit hard to express exactly where your legs are, but just put them down somewhere where you feel like you can go with the navel up. You engage the buttocks. And make your way back. Left leg to the front. High lunge. And adjust your stance as you need to. Palms together. Twisting as we did the first time through. Or extend the legs out, navel in, and lean towards the left side. I call it sometimes my James Bond move here. Awesome. Release, eagle pose. Right leg moves up. See if I can stay in balance. Wrap it around. Always welcome to stand with prayer hands. If you want to go for the eagle arms, right elbow is at the bottom. And sleeping, soaring, whatever variation you want to call it. Kind of wrapping around here. Release. Oh, sorry. Release the legs, not the arms. Warrior 3. And maybe with the back leg bended. Fingers down. Open up your hip with both hands down. If you want to go for the half moon with a binding, you're going to see if you can kind of grab the foot. So I bring my knee to the front, and when I got my toes there, I'm kind of kicking my knee out to the side, trying to stack the hips on top of each other. Using my Ujjayi breath. I'm a little bit out of breath. Probably are you as well. Release and let go. Warrior 2. Almost there. Palms together. Navel in, shoulders aligned. Lean forward. Lifting up, let the knee stay put as you lean back. Last vinyasa. Handstand, step back, lower down, up dog, down dog. And then child's pose. Knees on the floor, knees apart, so there's space for chest and everything. So prayer is conversation. I've already said that. So it's not just about expressing my wishes, my needs, my longings. It's also about listening. And before your hands maybe expressed a prayer, and maybe now your body can listen in with an example. So you might take your right hand or your left, it doesn't really matter. One hand at the bottom like an open fist. That's God's hand. The other hand is you. And your prayer you can put into God's hands, even your body, even your family, even your visions, your longings. So place yourself into God's hand and just stay there. And let that open hand and maybe wrap around the other hand, like God is listening, wrapping you in a loving, supporting hug. So you can go around every day, all of life, without praying, without really putting that hand into the open palm of God. But why not pray and feel how God can carry you, hold on like you feel that hand kind of holding on, gently wrapping around that hand that represents you. Why not find that comfort that God can give through prayer? Welcome to stay in child's pose just a little bit longer. But I will invite you, if you want to move on, just to come down on your back for just a short moment. Maybe you want to do butterfly pose to get a little bit of stretch in your inner thighs. And especially this pose reminds me that also in prayer, I can be vulnerable. Doesn't matter what I look like. And then you can take your legs out and rest on the floor. I'm just going to read a few of the sentences again from that message version. So you stay put on the floor, closing your eyes, trying to relax. Find a quiet, secluded place so you won't be tempted to role play before God. Just be there, as simple and honestly as you can manage. The focus will shift from you to God, and you'll begin to sense His grace. And with a God loving you, you can pray very simply. So maybe there is a prayer on your heart, on your mind. If you have not prayed before, just go ahead, try it out. So I'll finish our time together with a prayer, and you can just stay down on your mat. God, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring and for loving through your grace. Amen. From my heart to yours. Thank you.